It wasn't the kind of moment anyone plans for, but it ended up defining everything. One laugh. That's all it took. No shouting, no dramatic clapback, no PR-crafted rebuttal. Just a laugh. And somehow, that tiny, almost casual sound did more damage to Meghan Markle's carefully polished image than 100 scathing headlines ever could. It wasn't cruel, it wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of a woman who's been around long enough to recognize the game and has no interest in playing it. Let's rewind. Meghan Markle had just appeared on Jaime Kern Lima's podcast. This wasn't just another stage sit-down or glossy interview with friendly questions and pre-approved talking points. This was her first real podcast appearance on someone else's terms. No control over the edit, no palace-style press machine in the background, just two women, two microphones, and a conversation that went somewhere Meghan didn't expect. When Meghan tried to slip in a subtle jab, labeling Jaime a user, hinting at hypocrisy, the air didn't shift. Jaime didn't stiffen, didn't push back, didn't even bother to counter with a defensive monologue. She simply smirked and laughed. A dry, almost amused laugh. Effortless, loaded. The kind of laugh that doesn't need words because it says everything. And here's why that laugh mattered so much. Jaime Kern Lima doesn't need clout from Meghan Markle. This is a woman who builds a billion-dollar company from the ground up without a royal title, without a famous husband, without a privileged family name. She earned every inch of her success. You know, the moment that made her famous wasn't some viral PR stunt. It was the day she wiped off her full face of makeup on live television. She showed redness, rosacea, texture, no filters, no soft lighting, no apologies. It was raw, it was real, and it built an empire. In 2016, she sold her brand, IT Cosmetics, to L'Oreal for over $1 billion. No victimhood campaign, no public sympathy plea, just grit, strategy, and results. So when Meghan tried to throw shade, you could practically hear the collective eye roll from every woman who's watched Jaime's climb. It wasn't just that the insult missed, it was that it felt ridiculous, like trying to throw shade at the sun. The contrast between these two women is striking. Meghan's public persona, at least in recent years, has leaned heavily on curated vulnerability. Her brand is a mix of softly lit interviews, carefully framed truth-telling, and empowerment speeches woven with personal grievances. Every criticism becomes evidence of sexism or cruelty. Every fallout is someone else's betrayal. It's a narrative that once felt powerful, but lately it's starting to feel over-rehearsed. Jaime, on the other hand, doesn't package her resilience for Instagram. She doesn't perform strength, she lives it. She mentors women without turning it into a headline. She invests in people without a press release. Her credibility doesn't come from trauma, it comes from results. And here's the thing, Jaime didn't need to defend herself that day. Her life is the defense. 1,000 rejections, countless closed doors, and still she built something the world couldn't ignore. No drama, no scandals. Just a track record that
inner circle
speaks for
keeps
itself.
shrinking. First, the royal family, then Spotify, then Netflix projects stalling. Industry allies who once rolled out the red carpet are now keeping their distance. No one says it outright, but whispers travel fast. Working with her is exhausting, not because she's outspoken, not because she's emotional, but because every conversation, every project, every disagreement turns into a performance. And that's why Jaime's laugh hit so hard. It wasn't cruel, it wasn't dismissive of pain, it was dismissive of the act. The truth is, empowerment isn't a storyline. It's not a brand. It's a way of living that's consistent whether or not the cameras are rolling. Jaime has been living that way for years. Meghan, well, she's been marketing it. And people are starting to notice the difference. Behind the scenes, Hollywood has been quietly shifting. The Sussex narrative, that whirlwind fairy tale turned royal rebellion, was once captivating, but in an industry obsessed with freshness, the story now feels like a rerun. Empowerment, injustice, victimhood, repeat. At first, it was disruptive. Now, it's noise. And in Hollywood, noise is only good when it's profitable. Lately, the Sussex brand hasn't been. Executives don't like unpredictability unless it sells tickets, and Meghan and Harry's track record in recent years has been unpredictable in the wrong way. Missed deadlines, shaky creative visions, conflicting press stories, projects losing momentum before they even get off the ground, meetings where people arrive already drained, bracing for more drama than progress. Meanwhile, Jaime Kern Lima is the opposite. She walks into a room without an entourage, without drama, without demands, and leaves with a deal. She doesn't need to weaponize her past or spin her struggles into docuseries pitches. Her credibility is steady, her reputation clean, her energy consistent. And that's the kind of person
During
people
that
in power
podcast,
want to work
Meghan
with.
was supposed to be the draw, the empowering guest with a compelling story. But she ended up looking like the cautionary tale. As the conversation unfolded, it became clear her message hadn't evolved. It was the same stories, the same grievances, repackaged again. Pain reframed as wisdom, but circling back to the same wounds. Real growth doesn't loop. It builds. It expands. It stops being about who hurt you and starts being about who you've become. But Meghan's stories still orbit her pain. Her empowerment speeches still revolve around her journey, her struggles, her transformations. And when empowerment is only about you, it stops feeling like empowerment. It starts feeling like branding. That's why the phones aren't ringing like they used to. Producers are passing. Not because she's controversial, but because she's exhausting to work with. Every conversation is a potential landmine. Every collaboration is wrapped in control issues. Every relationship feels transactional. People aren't afraid of her, they're just tired. Tired of curated sorrow. Tired of vague accusations. Tired of watching every bridge she crosses burn behind her. Meanwhile, Jaime keeps moving forward quietly and powerfully. Her latest product launch sold out in under an hour. Her mentorship programs are thriving. Her reputation is untouchable. She doesn't chase the spotlight, but when it finds her, she doesn't waste it on settling scores. And that ultimately is why her laugh mattered. It wasn't just a laugh, it was a mirror. And what it reflected was a woman clinging to a narrative the world no longer believes in. Meghan can still reinvent herself. She's proven she has the ability to command attention, to inspire, to influence. But reinvention requires more than a rebrand. It takes humility, honesty, a willingness to be seen without the costume. Until then, Jaime Kern Lima will remain what Meghan once promised to be, a woman who empowers without turning it into a production.